Good morning, rise and shine, everyone. I'm Ellen Tibbetts-Hurst, and thank you for joining me on WEAC TV 24's Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program, bright and early on this 4th of July day. Happy birthday, America. And what better subject to talk about than our men and women in uniform, right? I have Master Sergeant Bradley Bennett from Team 4 Station Commander, A Company, 22nd, I hope I'm saying all this right, RRB with the Alabama Army National Guard. Welcome, Master Sergeant Bennett.
Yes, thanks for having me, and I love the shirt.
Oh, thank you. I tried to be patriotic today. So, first of all, I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I can't do a show about the Alabama National Guard without giving a shout out, okay, to my husband's unit, the 200th, and our son's unit, the 20th Special Forces Group. So, let's start with your role in the Guard. What do you do?
Absolutely. So currently, I've had many roles throughout my 20 years in the Guard now, but right now, currently, I'm actually what we call a station commander in the Recruiting and Retention Battalion. And I essentially have about 15 recruiters that work for me in Northeast Alabama, stationed throughout all the counties in Northeast Alabama.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and their job is to go out and find the best and the brightest young men and women.
So is Jonathan Griffith under you too?
He's not. He was at one point in time.
Shout out to him too.
Yep, absolutely. He's great, great man. He's in a little bit different of a role now. He works more with the 200th in the officer candidate school.
Right.
I have 15 recruiters, and their job is just go out. A lot of them, most people are most familiar with recruiters being in high school, high schools, and that's
a lot of
primarily
times you see them at the universities too, because I know I see them at JSU sometimes.
Yep, absolutely. So, but that's their job, is just go find people that want to join.
Wow, so you have a big responsibility.
Yeah, it
over
is.
15 people that are recruiting for the whole entire state. Well, actually, for the whole entire nation, if you look at it
That's
in the
right.
big realm of things, right?
That's right.
So, wow. Let's let the audience, let's just pretend that nobody knows anything about the Army National Guard, okay?
Sure.
Because, and the reason why I did this, guys, is because number one, I mean, it's America's birthday. What better thing to talk about, right? But, you know, I always try to bring to you guys every Friday something to educate you and to give you resources. And I feel, because I am a wife and stepmom of some National Guard folks as well, I always feel that the National Guard is one of the best kept secrets in Alabama, because it has done so much for my family, and I can't express to kids that I talk to all the time on a daily basis about how great it would be. So what is the Army National Guard, and what is their role? Let's start off with that.
So a lot of people, like you said, do not know about, just simply don't know about it. They're familiar with the Army and all branches of the military for the most part. But what people don't know is that each state actually has their own National Guard. All 52 states and territories have their own National Guard.
Right.
It's made up of both the Alabama Army National Guard and the Alabama Air National Guard. So it's a joint effort.
So it's kind of like combined?
It is combined. Yeah, it is combined.
Okay.
We're actually the 6th largest employer in the state.
Oh,
although,
wow.
Although it's all part-time for the most part. About 90% of our force is part-time soldiers, and what they do is they drill 1 week in a month after they join and enlist and go out to training. They drill 1 week in a month, typically, depending on the unit setup. Like your son is in the 20th Special Forces Group. Sometimes they have a little bit different setup on how they train. But then they also do what we call 2 weeks of annual training in the summertime, where they go off for 2 weeks and they're doing whatever unit training their unit has scheduled.
Right. And it could be stateside or overseas, because I know my husband has been to Romania for his camp before.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen them go all over the country for AT, and we've seen them go overseas as well, just for their annual training.
Yeah, just for the 2 weeks. And I think actually his was extended a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, if they go out of the country, a lot of times it is. But the overall role of the National Guard is to be a military presence if the governor needs us for any reason. Most commonly, the Guard is used for tornado and hurricane relief, especially in the state of Alabama and the surrounding states.
We have both of those, unfortunately.
We have both of those, yep.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but thank goodness for you guys.
They do a great job. And what happens is if a natural disaster occurs and the governor deems it necessary for a Guard unit to to deploy to that area that's been affected.
There's a picture right there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's some guardsmen in tornado relief efforts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they go out and they'll do anything and everything from bringing, supplies in, clearing roads. We've even seen guardsmen transport like pregnant women to hospitals and things like that.
I have a story about that one, because speaking of which, I mean, you were talking about how it's just like hurricanes and tornadoes, like natural disasters. But I remember a few years back when we had the ice apocalypse, or whatever what everybody wanted to say. My husband's unit was deployed at that time, and I think he was at that time. I think he may have been with the 168 at the Fayette, but. He and his crew, Jonathan was one of them, they had to go on I-20 and several of the highways, and they had to help. And I know they pulled big rigs out with chains, with the Humvees, and they were helping people stranded on the icy road. And there was a pregnant lady in labor.
Yep, absolutely.
And he had to kick one of his guys out, and somebody had to come get him, and he had to he and Jonathan had to take that lady to Grandview.
Yeah, Jonathan's probably where I got that story from.
Absolutely. My husband was driving.
Well, there you go. It's a small force too, so you run into people all the time. But that's primarily the responsibility of the National Guard. We've also done small things like the inauguration. We were deployed as a small cells. We're deployed up to Washington, D.C. for that. There's some pictures of COVID relief. We were giving vaccines during that time. So just an array, any type of military support that the governor may need us for, that's what we're here for. And then of course we fall under the President of the United States as well, and can assist the active duty units if need be.
Right, so. And one of the things that just really gets under my skin, and I'm sure it does yours too, but the people use the phrase, weekend warriors, and until you have until you're a family of a National Guard, or you know someone in the National, it's so much more than that.
Yeah,
it's so much more than that. These guys train just as hard as the active duty military. They may not be there 7 days a week, every day, 365 days a year, but lots of times it goes above and beyond what they do on,
Yeah, not only are they training hard and effectively and efficiently and all that, but most of your Guard soldiers have a professional life outside of their 1 week in a month.
Right.
So you have a unit that can be made up of, all military police officers, but half of that unit, there's electricians in there, there's construction guys that are doing
police officers,
absolutely
firemen.
That's their full-time job, and they're bringing all that experience and all that to the unit. Whereas an active duty unit, they're just solely focused on one job, one job only. So that is a big advantage.
You guys are great at multitasking.
That's right. That's right.
What I say. Great multitaskers.
Yeah, that's right.
So what are the eligibility requirements if somebody's wanting to join or enlist?
So it changes somewhat year to year, not too much, depending on the needs of the Army, the needs of the National Guard. Typically, though, what we call our target market in recruiting are men and women from the ages of 17 to 35. There are waivers and things if you are over the age of 35, depending on, if you've served before, some things like that. But 17 is our hard cutoff as far as how young you can be. You have to be at least a junior in high school. We have programs for juniors that can enlist as long as they're 17 years old, where they go to training in between their junior and senior year. But the eligibility requirements we could really dive deep into, because they have to pass what we call an ASVAB test, which is a standardized test, something like the GED test.
Right, but doesn't the ASVAB also, because I kind of remember taking it in school, but it also helps the military figure out where that person would fit, where their MOS. Well, tell everybody what MOS stands for.
So MOS is Military Occupational Specialty.
There you go.
And it's just your job. It's the job that you do in the Guard.
So the process of you know, like your eligibility, you said 17 to 35, and you have to pass the ASVAB and I'm sure physical.
Yep, and you're right about the ASVAB. What it does is it tells us whether or not you're eligible to just join in general. It gives us an overall score, but then it breaks down your scores as well, and it tells us what all jobs or MOSs that you can qualify for. The other piece of the eligibility requirements is the physical part. There's some things that we just have to look at with your physical background to make sure you can make it through basic training, your job training school, go to drill, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know, there's some common disqualifiers out there right now just because of the world we live in, but for the most part, all of it's waiverable. You know, medication use and things like that, some of the most common disqualifications we see, but almost all of them are waiverable. But other than that, some of them are, you know, whether or not you've been married and divorced and have, you know, a number of kids, again, some of that's waiverable, but part of the eligibility requirements. Tattoos is a big one that we see now. You can't have them on your hands, neck, or face.
And that would make sense. I
Yeah,
mean, when you're
just when
in
you're-
another
when you're in the-
country.
wearing the
yes.
uniform in general, being professional, and then law violations are another one.
Right.
So your
criminal background.
Your criminal background is part of it, and again, a lot of it is waiverable if you do have some things on your record.
Or like especially like juvenile or something
Yeah,
like
juvenile,
that.
something that you're young that happened, and then you overcame
You're young
it.
and
So-
dumb
Young
and
and dumb,
didn't
yeah. Almost all of us have done
like
that,
all of
so,
us were.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to hold that thought. We're going to
Okay.
talk about that a little bit more. But
Sure.
we're going to take a short break right now for a word from our sponsors. And you were watching WEAC TV 24's Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program. And we will be right back, and don't go anywhere.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA, most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I want to live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller against bullets.
I'm Alan Parnell with Parnell Insurance Agency. We've been here in Oxford and Alabama, Tallapoosa, Georgia since 1990. With Auto Owners Insurance, we're able to give customers competitive pricing along with excellent coverages. Parnell Insurance can handle all of your personal, commercial, and life insurance needs. We have a very experienced staff, both personal and commercial. All together, we've got about 125 years experience. Come see what our insurance agency can do for you in Oxford, Alabama, and Tallapoosa, Georgia.
Auto Owners Insurance.
Hey guys, this is Blair Smith at Pediatrics Plus here in Anniston, located on Henry Road. I'm over here on the well side, but we do also have a sick side urgent care if you need us. We are more than happy to see you guys. Just come on, check us out if you get a fever, cough, or cold, or want to come in for a good checkup. Thank you.
Backus Bibles and Books is dedicated to providing churches as well as individuals with products and services geared towards strengthening every relationship with Christ. We specialize in Bibles, Bible imprints, Bible restoration, church supplies, home decor, gifts, and apparel. Call us at 256-201-1202 or visit us Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 1100 Highway Drive in Oxford, Alabama. We look forward to serving you, equipping the people of God to expand the kingdom of God.
Welcome back, everyone, to Rise and Shine this 4th of July morning. Rise and Shine, and happy birthday, America. I am here with Master Sergeant Bennett. I get my sergeants mixed up, sorry. Master Sergeant Bennett, and we're talking all things about the National Guard, and this is just so awesome. I mean, I just really think that people don't realize, and that's why we're doing this today, about what all the National Guard can do. And we were talking about what the National Guard is, and what are the requirements, and what is the process of enlisting. So if someone, after they take their ASVAB, they pass the physical, they pass all the other things, the requirements, what is the process of enlisting?
Sure. So just like you said, to start off, the very first step is to talk with a recruiter. You know, unfortunately, you cannot join the military without going through a recruiter.
Right.
So you have to talk to a recruiter, you have to process your paperwork and do your testing and schedule your physical with a recruiter through what we call MEPS, which is the Military Entrance Processing Station. The one that we most commonly use is in Montgomery. And what happens is, once you've passed the ASVAB, like you said, you get scheduled for a physical at the MEPS, at the Military Entrance Processing Station. Your recruiter takes you down to the MEPS as long as you pass your physical. Then what you do is you stay in that building that day, and you sit down with what we call a National Guard guidance counselor. Your recruiter's there with you during this process to make sure that everything is going the way that you and your recruiter have talked about it, discussed, agreed on, so on and so forth. But essentially, the guidance counselor is going through your life story, you know, everything about you.
Like the cliff notes.
Yeah, the cliff note, that's right. And then making sure, you know, that this is the job that you want, so on and so forth. But probably the biggest part of the two biggest part of that process is, one is getting your ship date, your ship date to basic training, the day that you actually leave out to training. And then you do what we call swearing in. You conduct
raise your right hand.
you raise your right hand. You take an oath of enlistment to serve the state of Alabama and the country. So that's the process of enlisting on the front end. One of the biggest differences with the National Guard is the day that you join, you're actually in the military at that point. A lot of other services have what they call the delayed entry program, where you may go to MEPS, you may get your potential date to go to training, but you're still not technically in the military. With the National Guard, you start coming to drill right away.
Okay.
You start coming to drill, and we pay you for your drills right out of the gate. But it's what we call the recruit sustainment program. Since you're not job qualified, you come to a drill 1 week in a month with all the recruiters, and we're essentially just getting you ready for basic training.
Like prepping you.
Prepping you for basic
Right.
training administratively. Not really physically, we can't get you ready in 2 days a month, but we can show you how to get ready.
Right.
And that's what we do there at drill. Some young men and women, they will join at MEPS and they may leave within 30 to 45 days to go to training. Some of them, like right now, we're enlisting upcoming seniors, high school seniors. So they will not leave for training all the way until next June. So they have a year,
okay.
they have a whole year just about of coming to drill 1 week in a month and learn.
Oh wow! And they're making money.
And they're making money. Yep, they'll get
they're
drill
making
pay.
their own money. How
Absolutely.
awesome is that?
Yeah, it's a great program.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
a lot. It's
So
a lot.
when kids are in ROTC in high school or the universities, well, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's two different things. Well, it is, but
Yeah.
explain a little bit about that, because there's a lot of kids I know that are, especially in college, that are ROTC, but they're serving in the Guard,
Yeah.
and that helps them with their career,
Oh,
doesn't it?
absolutely. Yeah, there's all kinds of programs out there and benefits out there.
And we'll talk about all those benefits too soon.
And
when you going back to what happens once they enlist, after they do enlist, do they go to a specific? They don't go to just one place for basic training, because they go to, depends on their MOS,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct. Well, the basic training site, it can depend on their MOS or their job. If they're going to a basic training site that trains their job at the same place that they take their basic training. I don't know if that made sense or not. But some MOSs will train all at what we used to call Fort Benning. It's called Fort Moore now. If you're an infantry soldier, you're going to one place the whole time. But there's 5 different basic training sites.
Okay.
Let's say you're a mechanic. You may not go to the same basic training site that you do for your job training site. So
Gotcha.
there's 5 different basic training sites. There's kind of spread out all throughout the country, and then you go to whatever different Army installation for your job training as well.
Yes, for your
So,
specific job.
for your specific
whether
job.
you're a mechanic or heavy
Correct.
equipment, or which is engineering, or
And it's
whichever.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a little bit different of environment from your basic training to your job school training.
Right.
Your basic training, that's where they're turning you into a soldier. You know,
Right.
that's what you see on
Mind
the
game.
movies. Yeah, mind game. They're breaking you down, building you up.
Just Let it just take it in.
Yeah, that's right. That's where the drill sergeants are typically,
Yep.
and there's some at the job training schools as well. But their job is more just to direct traffic, I guess you could say.
Because my husband always tells young folks when he talks to them, that, I mean, basic training is just take it.
Yeah.
Because when it's all over with, they'll shake your hands.
That's right.
you know
You're
what
good
I mean?
to go.
It's just
Yeah.
it's mind games.
It is,
It's to make you strong and.
It is, and what a lot of people that come into the recruiting office are nervous about basic training in general. I don't know if I can do it. It seems hard at one.
Well, I can see why I would do probably the same way.
Hundreds of thousands of people have gone through it. Throughout all the services, and throughout the Army in general. So anybody can do it. And the basic training schedule or format, it is not. You're not expected to come in and run 4 or 5 miles on the first day.
Right.
They're going to bring you in and they build you up physically and mentally throughout the 9 weeks for basic training. And it is literally made for anybody that is meeting the standards to enlist, that can make it through that 9 weeks of training.
Well, let me ask you this, because we said, we're talking about like the requirements, what's the process of enlisting. Let's say somebody has a job. Okay, that's not the National Guard.
Okay.
Okay, because I know this question, it comes up all the time.
Yeah.
So if they have a job, say, I don't know, they're just out of high school and they started a really good job, they lucked out, really got a good job, they don't want to quit it, whatever, but they want to join the National Guard, but they're scared if they're gone for those 9 weeks, what's going to happen to their job?
It's very common.
Explain that.
Absolutely. So just like if you're a professional or you have a full-time job and you were to get deployed for those 2 weeks for ice storms or hurricanes, or there's federal and state laws that are put in place for all National Guard soldiers that cover their job while they are at any type of federal training. So what happens is you get ordered by the governor to go to this training or go to this ice storm or to this hurricane relief. And if you have those orders in your hand, then your employer cannot touch you.
Even for basic training.
Even for basic training, yeah.
So that's what we try to tell folks all the time, so that it's illegal for them to fire you.
Yeah, big time.
Because you are serving our country, you're serving the state. Because not just anybody can raise their right hand. You know what I mean? And what a brave thing to do. For you guys that are thinking about it, you really need to, and you need to call Master Sergeant over here and let him know if you're interested. I'm sure you could tell him all about it, right?
Yeah, information is key. A lot of people just don't know, and they think that if I call a recruiter, I'm signing a dotted line right there on the spot, and that's simply that's not the case.
And here's your information.
There you go.
To get in touch
you
with
can call me. I'm Northeast Alabama, but I can direct you to wherever you might live throughout the state. But yeah, there's just a common misconception that if you talk to a recruiter, you're joining right then on the spot. One, you have to go through the enlistment process like we talked about.
Right.
And two, it's just we got to make sure that you're a good fit for us, and you got to make sure that you're a good fit for us.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with calling just to get information.
No.
And like you said, I mean, just because you're calling to get information doesn't mean that you're joining right then. So don't be scared to call. So what happens after one joins or enlists after they I guess they go to basic training?
So after basic training, that 9 weeks of basic training, they don't come home or anything like that. They go straight out to their job school training, what we call AIT, or Advanced Individual Training.
Now, is that included in the 9 weeks, or 9 weeks is just basic?
That's just basic.
Okay.
So you got an additional school after basic training called AIT.
Okay.
Unless you're in a situation like what we call a split option training, where you're a junior and you join and you can only go to basic training in between your junior and senior year.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, you go directly onto your AIT, your Advanced Individual Training, or your job school training, and the length of time on that varies.
Depending on
your job.
Depending on your MOS.
Yep.
So,
If you're a human resources specialist, you may be gone for 6 weeks. If you're an IT specialist, your training is going to be a lot longer, right?
Or if you're a mechanic, or a heavy equipment operator.
A helicopter mechanic. If you're in the medical field, there's all types of
medics.
job fields.
There's so many, I mean.
Oh, it's everything that you could think of, just about anything that you can major in college.
And I always tell kids when I talk to them too, I mean, what better place to get a trade for free.
Well, you're getting paid for it, actually.
And you're getting paid for it, and you only have to do 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks at minimum, 2 weeks out of the year for your camp. But it would help you in your other job
absolutely.
As well. And who's to say you may not? I mean, you may love the military so much, you may love the Guard so much that you'd want to make a career out of it, like you did. You know?
Yeah. A lot of young men and women now are looking into that IT field. It's a very popular field. And we have soldiers that are coming back from training that are going to work for, big IT companies right out the gate. College is great, and that's just adding, certificates and things, but you're getting qualified through this military training.
How awesome is that to see on your resume? Well, I had my training at Fort with the United States military.
Yeah, you get military preference as well. On job applications. So if you've ever filled out a job application, they have that little box that says, "Have you ever served in the military?" Or
especially for all you folks that want to work like at the depot or different places, because there's a little box that you check.
There's a little box that you check.
Right.
But all job fields, you come back, and if you're a mechanic, a diesel mechanic, you can go right down here and work at Cooper Chevrolet or whatever, at diesel mechanic with your training.
Right.
So college is not for everybody. A lot of our benefits are geared towards individuals that are seeking secondary education, but a lot of them just go out and get this training, come back, and go straight to work.
And we're going to talk about the benefits too. We're going to talk about going to college and all that kind of stuff. And I know, like I was telling you in a break, that I met a young lady who was a helicopter pilot, and she loved the Guard. She said, "Oh my gosh, if I went active duty military, I would be sitting at the desk a lot of times." She said, "At least with the Guard, I'm flying every week, every month." So she loved it.
Yeah, there's aviation out there.
There's
awesome. Special forces units that people just have no idea.
And we're going to talk about all those things. We're going to talk about those things. So we're going to take another short break for a word of our sponsors. You're watching WEAC TV's Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program, and we will be right back.
The weather is warming up and spring is just around the corner at Miller Sand and Landscape Supply. I'm Craig Miller, and we've got something for everyone. From bulk materials like sand, gravel, and mulch to beautiful outdoor decor to make your outdoor living space the envy of the neighborhood. See our beautiful selection of Mazzarelli fountains, flowers to brighten your garden, and an outdoor center loaded with beautiful decor. Whether you need a little or a lot, visit Miller Sand and Landscape Supply.
Hey, this is Jason at Reeves Insurance. Just want to say a quick thank you to all of our customers for your support over the years. We now have offices in Anniston, Alexandria, and Oxford in order to serve you better. So stop in and see me or any of our experienced staff and let us shop for you. We'll find you the best price and the best coverage available. Thank you.
The Civilian Marksmanship Program, also known as CMP, is a national organization dedicated to training and educating U.S. citizens in responsible uses of firearms and air guns through gun safety training, marksmanship training, and competitions. Their vision is to lead the nation in marksmanship excellence, providing safe, high-quality, and innovative programs with a focus on youth. For more information about the CMP and upcoming events, visit thecmp.org.
Good morning, everyone. Rise and shine. I'm Ellen Tibbetts-Hurst, and we are here with Master Sergeant Bennett on this 4th of July, beautiful day, and happy birthday, America. And we're talking all things National Guard, the Alabama National Guard, military, and we're talking about enlisting. We've been talking about how you become a person who wants to be in the National Guard, how you get information and all that kind of stuff. So for all you guys that want to, or you're interested, but you don't know if you want to actually raise your hand yet, please call him, because just because you call and get information doesn't mean that you have to join right that second. Or I mean, it may be something that you find that you may not want to do, right?
Yeah,
so let's talk a little bit about the benefits of enlisting, because I feel we talked about the job fields available a little bit and talked about how it helps with civilian employment and all that kind of stuff, but what are the benefits of enlisting? Because people don't realize, I mean, you get insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like all kinds of awesome benefits.
Yeah. So our primary market as recruiters that we reach out to are your high school seniors, first year college students, things like that, high school juniors and seniors and first year college students, because some of our best benefits out there right now, short-term benefits, are going to be the education benefits.
Right.
There's just, I mean, myself, my parents didn't have a education fund saved up for me or anything like that, so the Guard was my way to pay for school.
Right. So it talks about, and there's the benefit summary right there.
Maybe a little hard to read. That first top block was actually a Senate bill that was signed in by Governor Ivey. This is probably 10 years ago now. But it's the Alabama National Guard Education Assistance Program. It's gone up about every 2 years to catch up with the cost of school.
And the cost of the schools are to the right over there.
Yeah, the cost of the schools are to the right there, but it is, all of our benefits are geared towards Alabama only state schools.
Right.
But now every Guard has their own, or every state has their own education benefits. So if you join the Alabama Guard and then you want to go to Georgia to go to school or something, you can do that. You just fall under their benefits. But for the Alabama National Guard, we have what's called the Education Assistance Program, the Alabama National Guard Education Assistance Program, or ANGAP. This thing it's amazing. It's just over $6,000 a semester for tuition and fee. Yep, for tuition and fees. For 3 semesters a year, so it's over $18,000 just for tuition to any Alabama state school.
That could help someone get a college degree.
Absolutely.
Which in return, would it not help their military career?
It'll help their military career. It helps the military in general. You have, a more educated soldier on your hands.
Right, and you also can move up in rank.
Yep,
right?
You can get promoted with your education.
Yes.
Absolutely. So that's geared towards primarily tuition. And as long as it's a state accredited school, you can utilize that benefit. So what that means is, people typically think about just going to a 4-year school or something like that. You can go to a Gadsden State or a community college and go for your 2-year for a trade and utilize these benefits for that.
Wow.
There's firefighting schools out there, lineman schools out there that'll take the benefits that we offer.
So isn't that wonderful?
It's not just universities.
That's wonderful.
Now that is, the ANGAP is strictly to the school. Like say if your tuition every semester was only $4,000, you don't get to pocket the extra $2,000.
Right.
But that's where our additional federal benefits come in with the GI Bill.
Okay.
So no matter what you do, what job you go into, as long as you enlist, you're eligible for that ANGAP benefit for the tuition. But then you are also eligible for what we call the Montgomery GI Bill.
Okay.
And what that does is it pays you monthly stipend every month that you're in school. And right now I want to say it's at it's either $481. I can't read up there. It's a good healthy number for a college student.
In addition to what they're already getting.
In addition to their drill pay.
To their drill, right.
And then if they score a 50 or higher on their ASVAB, then they also are eligible for the Montgomery GI Bill kicker, which is an additional $350 on top of that. So
roughly
this money
about
can just stack,
$700-800 more dollars on top of your drill money.
On top of your drill pay. We have college students that are making $1,000 a month just for being full-time college students. And
that's fantastic.
And their tuition's getting taken care of.
Right,
yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
And all of it's based on a 4-year degree. Some of the benefits you can utilize even after for master's degrees and things like that.
Right.
But the education benefits are really second to none. We have obviously a lot of young men and women that will join when their primary focus is just
I know that one of my husband's soldiers, and she always talks about him being her mentor. Sorry, honey, I had to say that because I'm so proud of him. But Jackson, I don't know if you know her. She's a little bitty young lady, and she is so wonderful. And she went and got her education, and the last time I heard, she was working on her doctorate.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
In Auburn, and guys, I mean, she utilized the National Guard to get her education, and my husband says all the time now he's saluting her. So it's great. I mean, like I said, I think this is such a kept secret almost, that young men and women don't realize the benefits that, and talk about the insurance. How does that work?
Right, and that's what I was going to say is it goes far beyond the education benefits. Once you've served for a little while, you are qualified for VA home loans, which are amazing when it comes time to buy a house.
Oh yeah.
But the medical insurance is another big benefit that a lot of people are just simply staying in the Guard for. Once you get a little bit older and you have to pick up your own health insurance, it's like another paycheck in itself, really, if you're not having to buy your health insurance monthly. So for a single person, it runs about $80. I hadn't looked at the numbers before I came here today, but it's about $80 for a single person. I want to say $130 for a family.
Right.
For a TRICARE health insurance.
Right.
And then there's, eye insurance, dental insurance, all that can be rolled into it as well.
Right. And for your kids, I mean, our son, we have 2 grandchildren, and how wonderful it was that, when they were born, they didn't have a bill.
That's right. Yeah.
And they're a young couple. I mean, how awesome is that?
Yeah, it's really an amazing deal. Like I said, we have people that'll stay in just for the insurance. They're getting their drill check, of course, but it's not costing them $400, $500, $600 a month for some other private companies.
And I think a lot of, cause I'm going to quote my husband here because he says this to a lot of kids. Kids don't realize, when they go early, because like our son, my husband had to sign when he was 17.
Yeah.
So, but people don't realize that, you can stay in 20 years, guys, and you can retire. Like if you went in at 17, 18, you could retire at 37, 38 years old, and you would have all this education, and you would have all this training and all these things where you could start your whole other second career and then have another retirement and still have insurance.
Absolutely. I joined when I was 19. I was a little older than some that joined, but I was 19 when I joined, and I just hit my 20 years. I could retire right now, and I turned 40 in 3 days.
See how awesome! I mean,
yeah,
you're definitely.
It's a great program. It's a great organization. Your initial enlistment, depending on what you pick to do and what kind of benefits that you want out of the deal, they're typically a 6-year commitment to start off with. But then after that, you just can go, 1 week in a month, or one year at a time after that.
Okay.
The 6-year obligation sounds kind of a lot. Just to start off with, when you talk about a 4-year obligation for some of the active duty components. But like I said, part 1, it's just 1 week in a month.
Right.
2, our primary market are incoming college students that are about to be at school for 4.5, 5 years.
Right.
And then you typically have about 6 or 7 months of training, from the time that you enlist to the time that you go to training is a few months, and then all that training is a few months. So 6 years typically just takes care of your whole 4 years college.
Right.
So,
this is the way to go. When people say, I don't have the money, or my mom and dad didn't save,
Absolutely.
or I didn't, I don't know how I don't want to get a student loan and be in debt and all these kind of things. I mean, what a great resource.
My stepmother is still paying on student loans for 30-something years. Later.
Because back then, and when I was in school, I remember student loans that the interest, and I'm not exaggerating here, it was like 30%.
Yeah.
Like I am not exaggerating. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know lots of folks that are still paying on them.
Yeah, it's a big selling point for us. Get in, even if you just stay for that first term, that 6 years, get in, use the benefits, use the education benefits, get your degree, and then decide whether or not you want to stay.
Right.
If you're pulling student loans out, you're going to be $40,000, $50,000 in debt, especially if you're going to Alabama or an Auburn or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not cheap.
No,
to go to school.
Not at all.
Guys, I'm in school right now. I've got 4 more classes and I'll graduate.
Oh, there you go.
With my master's degree. Yeah, I mean, and thank goodness for Mr. Hurst. He's funding it for me. But you just, like I said, I just feel like the audience out there, if you have a young child at home who's kind of up in the air that really don't know what they want to do with their life, they're like, well, I really don't know. What am I good? I don't really know what I'm good at.
That's right.
That would be a good way to find out.
It's a great way to find out. It's a great way to find out a lot about yourself. One,
how strong you are.
How strong you are. But a lot of people just haven't really left the state of Alabama by the time they're 17 or 18.
Right. Been with their mom and dad. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely, nothing wrong with that. But it gives you the opportunity to go spend some time with people that are from all over the country, get training, find out a little bit about yourself, find out what you may like to do with your life,
and travel. And you don't have to pay for it.
Absolutely.
Like, all the places you could see. I think about, my husband alone, he's been to Romania, he's been to Germany, he's been to Hungary, he's been to all these different places. He got to see a lot.
Yeah, it's a great organization, a ton of benefits.
And you're serving your country.
That's right.
And you're serving your state, the state of Alabama.
That's right. It's a community-based organization. We're here for the people within the community.
And how good would you feel helping someone in tornadoes and hurricanes and snow and ice and all those kind of things? Because I know it makes my husband feel good. It's a good feeling.
For sure.
And again, I can't thank you enough for your service. This is just so awesome.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
I just think this is so awesome. And when we get back from our break, I want to talk a little bit about re-enlisting, people that re-enlist. I want to talk a little bit about bonuses because I know that was a thing at one time, and talk a little bit about what you see as the top MOS, the top job that you're looking at as far as being in the Guard. So we are going to take another short break, so don't go anywhere. And you are watching WEAC TV 24's Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program, and we will be right back.
On average, a tow truck operator is killed every 6 days in the United States. A tragic, yet preventable event. The fact is, most people don't know what it's like being a tow truck operator. The dangers that occur while servicing a roadside vehicle are real. However, you can make a difference to help lower this statistic and save lives by simply slowing down and moving over. This simple task can prevent an unnecessary death and allow workers to make it home to the families waiting for them. After all, it's the law in all 50 states for good reason. Do your part so they can live another day and be there for you when you need them. Move over. Their lives don't belong to you.
Backus Bibles and Books is dedicated to providing churches as well as individuals with products and services geared towards strengthening every relationship with Christ. We specialize in Bibles, Bible imprints, Bible restoration, church supplies, home decor, gifts, and apparel. Call us at 256-201-1202 or visit us Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 1100 Highway Drive in Oxford, Alabama. We look forward to serving you, equipping the people of God to expand the kingdom of God.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA, most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I want to live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller against bullets.
Welcome back, everyone, to Rise and Shine this July 4th morning, and I know it's early. And guys, I hope that you didn't miss this show, but if you did, you can go back, because remember, we're on Roku, Apple, Fire Stick, YouTube, Facebook, all the things. You can actually go back and watch it. You can also go on WEAC TV 24's Facebook page and look at it as well. But what a great show. We're talking all things about the Alabama National Guard. We have Master Sergeant Bennett with us talking about everything, and first of all, I know you're military, but it is Friday, so I have all my guests. I always tell them it's Friday, so we do the Friday dance. It's Friday, I know you're military. Whoa, he did it, awesome. So, But we were talking about all the things about all the benefits, and wow, what benefits. That's crazy. Like, people don't realize all that. And like I said, I mean, to retire, I wish I could have retired at 38, 39. If I would have known, seriously, if we had a recruiter back in the day, I probably, at that point, because I was young.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was young, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But and I came that close to joining the Air Force after after I graduated with my undergrad. A lot of people don't know that, but you know, who knows? I mean, that would be so awesome to retire at such a young age and then have a second career, because then you would have a second retirement. And guys, when you retire, you'd be set.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you would still get military insurance. You get all the things. So I know at one time, bonuses was a thing. Like, if you join, because the recruit, and I know that recruiting is at a all-time like kind of high right now, right?
A lot of them are doing well, yeah.
Yeah. So, what are there still bonuses available?
So there are bonuses available. A lot of them are on the what we call the retention side of the house, just trying to keep people in that we've trained up. So when you come up on the
ranked or into
once you get to a certain point and it comes time and your contract's ending, you have the chance to re-enlist. So a lot of our bonuses are geared around that. But we do have initial enlistment bonuses out there as well for somebody just coming in. They're not necessarily few and far between, but they're really job focused. So there's usually only about there's only two or three jobs at a time that have a bonus attached to them. That bonus kind of fluctuates depending on the year, but they are out there. They're available. What we usually tell our young men and women that are looking to enlist, like the bonus is exactly that. If what you want out of the Guard, this job and all, you know, this timing and all that, if that comes with a bonus, then great, fantastic. You know, if not, you're still getting all the other benefits.
Yeah, you're still getting so many benefits and everything. So, how about re-enlisting, and how? I mean, I know. You said retention is one of the main focuses too, but are you guys seeing more people like re-enlisting that maybe were in the Guard for, I don't know, 10 years, whatever, and then they decided, oh, hey, they got out for a couple of years and they decided, wow, that was a stupid thing for me to do, and they're coming back. Do you see a lot of that?
We see a lot of it every month. We see it, and not necessarily. And it's typically not even Guardsmen looking to come back. It's people that have gotten out of active duty components, like the active duty Army, active duty Marine Corps. Those are some of the bigger pools of what we call prior service applicants that we see are from active duty. Just re-enlisting, as in you're already a Guard soldier, what happens is, like we were talking about contracts earlier, your contract is ending, you talk to another, almost like a recruiter, but it's a retention NCO, and they just get a new contract written up for you, and you don't skip a beat. You just go on right to your next drill, and you keep on going. The wonderful part about re-enlisting is you can choose your length of time. So say I have 10 years in, I'm not sure if I want to go to 20 or not. I may just do a year at a time after 10 years.
You're going to think about it.
So you're going to think about it 1 year at a time. And there's benefits to doing it just 1 year at a time, you know. So, but yeah, it's a big initiative right now for the big bosses of the Alabama National Guard and the state, the tag and all that, is to do what we call closing the back door, what we call it, and getting the people that we have spent the money on, you know, and trained, and that have the education and all that, to keep them in.
Right.
You know,
and people don't realize too, some of the benefits I'm just sitting here thinking about, like, too, is like, you know, I get to go to the fort and get gas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's way cheaper than it is just, you know, to civilian, like at Walmart or wherever, you know, that wherever you decide to go. So there's other benefits, and there's family benefits.
There's family benefits. That's what I was just about to say, is my daughter, she has about 3 years of school paid for just from me serving. So that you can pass along GI Bill benefits once you get to a certain point in your career.
Yep, and that won't hit you in your pocketbook, right?
That's right.
That's right. Right, and you know, and not only that, you know, and because we always try to go to places that take veteran discounts, because we love all you businesses out there that support our military, and that's just another added perk too.
Yeah,
I mean, because you can show your ID and say, hey, I'm military, I get a 10%, 20% discount. I mean, that's a huge thing.
It's all over the place. It really is endless. I mean, hotel rooms, all kinds of stuff you don't think about. Those are just little added.
And even like my husband and I booked an Amtrak. We're going to Hattiesburg, Mississippi to the Giant State Southern Miss game, and I booked it on a military discount. Yeah.
There's full-blown vacations you could take through government travel sites and all kinds of stuff. So.
And you can stay at barracks. And
that's right.
People don't
if you really want the experience.
I mean, but there are people that do that. And people that fly standby.
Standby, space, what they call space A.
So there's, guys, there are so many benefits to military. I can't even stress it enough. I mean, my dad was military too, and it's just a good thing. And you know, I know people that, like you said, serve 10 years, and you're like wanting to do 1 year at a time. That's great and wonderful. But if you did 10, what's 10 more?
What's 10 more?
I mean, my gosh, you could retire. That would be awesome. So, what is the top MOS? What is the top jobs that you're seeing that everybody wants to do?
Yeah. So
is it the IT?
The information technology stuff to do with the computers is a big one nowadays, and it kind of shifts from time to time throughout, you know, just different kids growing up, you know, you just see it shifting. A lot of the top MOSs or highly sought after ones now are the mechanic in the mechanical field, or like diesel mechanics, things like that. Military police officers are a big one. But the most, I guess, say beneficial are the ones like in the IT world, in the medical world, are probably the two biggest ones that we
Are
see
there
people
any
want to come in.
MOS that you see that there's more of a need?
We always need infantrymen. That's just because in the state of Alabama we have we're infantry heavy units and military police heavy units. We are getting some new units in the state that are not. You know, here and there we're chipping away, getting some new units. But so we're always on the hunt for infantry soldiers. But for the most part, there is what we call vacancies or openings for all jobs all across the state. Because that kind of matters too when it comes down to the job selection, is where am I going to be drilling and things like that, right? If I'm going to JSU, or if I just live in Jacksonville, I don't necessarily want to go all the way to Mobile 1 week in a month just for drill.
So you want to kind of stay close.
We consider that,
because I know, you know, my husband's is at Fort McClellan, but then our son's is in Birmingham. But that's still not that far away.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not bad at all. So
and there's units literally all over the state. We have armories. We're really National Guard Armory heavy in Calhoun County, with Fort McClellan being here.
Thank goodness.
And Pelham Range, yes, absolutely. But even just throughout the state, they're all over. They're all over, so we can find you something close to home.
And then another perk too is, you know, when you have that military ID from the Guard, just because you're a Guard, you still can go to all the bases. You can shop on the bases. You can go to their PX and their commissaries and all that kind of thing too.
Absolutely.
Because some of those PX,
they're great.
They're awesome.
Yeah, and the commissary shopping is great in itself.
Yes, they have things that we don't have in the civilian.
That's right, and it's all tax free.
Yeah, tax free. That's the big thing. Yeah, you know. So I appreciate you so much for coming, and
I appreciate it.
You know, and again, guys, if you're wanting to contact him, please feel free to do so, and don't feel like you have to join just by talking to Master Sergeant Bennett. You can just call. Here's his information, his email. If you don't want to talk to him,
that's fine. That's fine too.
I mean, but there is his cell phone. His cell phone number is up there, and then his email. So make sure that you write that down. For all you guys that did not get to watch all the rest of the show, I mean, please make sure that you go back and watch it on the app, on the WEAC TV 24 app for Apple, Roku, Fire Stick, and then go to YouTube as well and Facebook. Any last?
The only other thing I would add on to the contact information part is if you're in another part of the state or you just want to get some very general information, just go to alabamanationalguard.com. If you are interested in talking to a recruiter, then they have a little search bar. You just put in your zip code and it'll populate with a name and number you can call. That is local to you, and you're good to go.
Oh, that's good information to know. Thank you very much.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I also want to just remind everybody about our community health series that we have every month at the Oxford Civic Center. We have different subjects every month, and this month, July 22nd, from 10 to 12 at the Oxford Civic Center, we have Kids, Parents, and Grandparents Day. We have vendors that are set up. It's free to come. We have vendors set up. We have door prizes. It's actually filmed, I guess, for like a 30-minute show, and it shows 3 days a week on all the stations I told you about. 3 days a week until the next month's event starts. So we have that every month, and this month we actually have somebody from the Anniston Museum come in to speak and talk about their programs, and have some things to talk about, like their memberships and extra programs that they have for the summer, going into fall and that kind of thing. And I think we have a police officer talking about family safety. You're more than welcome to come back, Master Sergeant. You can come and talk about, do a little 5-10 minute spiel if you would like, or set up a table or whatever. Or if you can't, just give me the brochures. I'll make sure that they're there. We would love to have you. Or and like I said, I understand you're busy gentleman.
Well,
so.
I can send somebody out here for you too. So,
but we try to give our resources out to our folks every month and just educate them, because it's free, and we're all about giving that information out to our folks. And like I said, I mean, what great information, and I learned a lot today.
Yeah.
And I'm even married into it, and I've learned a lot. But there's a lot to recruiting.
There's a lot to recruiting. There's a lot to the military in general that people just don't realize. It is not your, grandfather's military anymore. Honestly, it's evolved.
There's some high-tech stuff going on.
There's some high-tech stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different jobs out there.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It used to be the kind of consensus is, if this doesn't work out for me, I may just join the Army. But now we're looking for and on the hunt for the best and brightest, because we have the best benefits out there.
Oh yeah,
so,
and you can get job training and get paid for it.
Absolutely.
Like, that is crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like,
it works out well.
Yeah,
it works out well. If you're motivated and have the drive, then you come on, and it's a great part of to be part of your community like that, and then get all the benefits that go along with it.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, because I respect all military. I mean, for you full-time people out there, Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, whatever, I respect you all. But if you don't want to do that, I mean, hey, the National Guard may be the way to go, because you could still serve, you still get the benefits,
Sure.
You still get lots of great benefits, you still can have your civilian
Normal
job,
life,
because it's illegal for them to to fire you. They can't fire you.
That's right.
So what, I mean, it's a no-brainer to me.
For a lot of people, that's what we tell them when they start coming into the office, know, for a recruiting interview. It's, hey, if you want to join the military, then this is the way to do it.
Yeah, I think it's so. And do you have a lot of people that maybe join the National Guard and say, hey, I really love this, I want to do full-time and go in the Army, or I want to go do whatever?
Mm-hmm. We absolutely do, all the time. We have programs that you can go straight from the Guard to active duty without finishing out your contract in some cases, but for the most part, if you do your 6 years, then you go right on to active duty if you love it.
Oh,
so
wow.
We see that a lot.
Can they go to, I mean, do they go active duty Army, or can they go to like another
they'll typically
branch?
they'll want to go active duty Army, just because all of their training
Army.
and all and all that just translates obviously and transfers directly to the Army. But now we do see some like Air Force airmen and airwomen that'll come to the Guard, where we have programs that transfer their training into ours.
And then I know some people, like I know there was at one time there was a need for chief warrant officers, and they were like recruiting through the National Guard and Army.
Yep.
So all that
there's
good
always
stuff.
a need for those. So
Yeah. Wow. I hope you guys learned as much as I did.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
And I hope I did okay.
Oh, that was great.
It is
Thank
America's
you.
birthday today.
Yes.
And again, thank
Happy
you so
birthday.
much for your service. Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
your family.
Yes,
thank you very much.
You too.
And
So,
thank you
happy
for being
4th.
here. And
Yeah.
guys, like I said, go back and watch it if you missed it. And I hope to see you next Friday where we'll have another wonderful guest. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and be safe on this 4th of July. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
All right.